It's 8 p.m. in Banjul, and from our studios on MDI Road, this is the news. First, the headlines. President Jammeh Babili Mensah dilates on the reason that informed his decision to place high premium on health as he answers questions from children taking part in the maiden edition of National Children's Day of Broadcasting, NCDB. Agriculture Minister Ismaila Sanyang highlights the strong link between skills acquisition and the development of the Gambia's agricultural sector. The conflicts in Ukraine and Afghanistan topped the agenda during the first meeting between NATO and Russian envoys in 2 years. And prospective U.S. presidential candidates Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton maintained their seemingly unassailable leads, this after winning their respective parties' primaries in New York State. These and other stories coming ahead in the next half hour. I am MOMODOU. The President of the Islamic Republic of the Gambia, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Ejeje Jammeh Babili Mensah, has granted an interview to a group of children taking part in the maiden edition of the National Children's Day of Broadcasting. This was the President's response when one of the children asked why the head of state places a lot of premium on health.
It's a wealthy nation. It's a prosperous nation. And so, to ensure that we have a prosperous future, a very strong nation, the future leaders, you are the future leaders. If you are not healthy, the future of the country is not healthy, because you are the insurance for the continuous progress and prosperity of this country. But not only you, too. I think maybe in your school you have somebody who is always sickly. You can see somebody who is always sickly, the performance of that person in class, in academic work, or a teacher who is always very sick, the performance is very poor. So that tells you that health, a healthy nation and healthy children is indispensable for the socioeconomic, the sustainable socioeconomic development of this country. And we want to be an economic superpower, and by the grace of the Almighty Allah, we will be. Now, you cannot have that if, God forbid, the children today are sick, and then tomorrow they will still be sickly. Also, when children are sick, it costs the government a lot of money. When anyone is sick, it costs the government a lot of money, but more so when it concerns the children. So we want to make sure that we want to protect everybody, make sure that everybody is healthy, so that also nobody will have an excuse not to participate in national socio-economic development. If the children are healthy, the future is healthy. If the children are not healthy, we cannot guarantee a healthy future for the country, a prosperous country. Thank you. A healthy nation.
Jammeh Babili Mensah talking to children taking part in 2016 National Children's Day of Broadcasting, which will be staged by the Children's Department of the Gambia Radio and Television Services this Saturday. The theme for the program, supported by Her Excellency, the First Lady and Chairperson of the Updates on Sensitive Children Foundation, Her Excellency Madam Zainab Yahya Jammeh, is empowering children for better health. The platform is created to enable children to interact with top government officials, decision makers and their peers, as well as to allow them to make their voices heard. Watch out for the full interview and a broad range of interesting programs produced and presented by the children on Saturday, 23rd April 2016. Her Excellency Lorella Stanley and His Excellency Nicola Renzi, former captains, regent of the Republic of San Marion, have sent New Year greetings to the President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Ejeje Jammeh Babili Mensah, and extended wishes of peace and prosperity to the head of state. A joint session of the Public Accounts and Public Enterprises Committees of the National Assembly has given the University of the Gambia more time to prepare its 2014 activity report and financial statement. Officials of Gambia College were also at the National Assembly for the same purpose, but were asked to return at a later date. Louis Mendy reports.
Schedule us for a later date was the UTG management's plea to the National Assembly's Joint Public Account Public Enterprise Committee when they appeared before the legislative body to present the institution's 2014 audited activity report and financial statements. The plea was accepted, but not without an explanation by the acting Vice Chancellor of the UTG, as demanded by the parliamentarians.
Our Chairman of the Council and the Minister for Higher Education unavoidably, and I apologize on his behalf. The second important point, sir, I have assumed duty as an acting Vice Chancellor on 15th of June 2015. And the presentation supposed to be for the year 2013. So I think you now understand this period I was not in control or in power of the university. However, I'm not trying to justify myself or to blame other people. As that when the former Vice Chancellor has been left the office, before me came two acting Vice Chancellors, and they acted for almost short period, 2-3 months. From this time, I came and I have to find a very Herculean task. In what sense? First of all, we have to put the university rules and regulation in order. We have condition of service. This condition of service has not been followed for some time.
Prof. Khalil said time to correct the pending and yet very important issues is what they need, as they are very crucial to the long-term viability of the country's only citadel of learning.
Acting Vice Chancellor and team, thank you very much, and we pray to Allah the Almighty to help, to guide you in trying to transform or make good some of the irregularities at the university. We are confident that you can do it, and you will do it. We also appreciate the capacity building measures, and of course the Senate meetings that you have been having, which hitherto had not been happening. Thank you very much. We can now excuse you, and we hope to see you come next session of Parliament. Thank you.
But the UTG was not the only institution deferred by the National Assembly on Thursday, as the Gambia College was also rescheduled for the next PAC-PEC sessions, in which they have to submit their 2013, 2014, and 2015 audited financial statements and activity reports at once. The gracing period will avail the college management the opportunity to compile what the NAM said are comprehensive reports. The gracing period will avail the college management the opportunity to compile what the Assembly calls comprehensive reports. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
The Minister of Agriculture has underscored the importance of building the capacity of local farmers in the drive to develop the agricultural sector. Ismail Asanyang was speaking in Quinala during a visit to a mixed farming center which trains over 100 women on sustainable, cost-effective and innovative vegetable production techniques. MOMODOU reports on the initiative that is set to revolutionize agriculture production in the Gambia.
The Quinala Mixed Farming Center is one of 6 sites upgraded and renovated by the Ministry of Agriculture to build the capacity of local farmers in the field of sustainable, cost-effective and healthy agricultural food production. The center has over 100 local women farmers undergoing training on basic vegetable production and soil management techniques. Ansumana NJIE is the Regional Agricultural Director overseeing the management of the center.
The center is on production because some of the factors that definitely help us in production are in place. We have a good fencing, we have good water systems, and we have also some field extension workers who are present here who will help these farmers to make sure that they teach them on good agricultural practices. And these farmers will be used as contact farmers on their various vegetable schemes so that they can also teach farmers, because we believe that farmer-to-farmer contact will definitely help since our extension farmer ratio is very high.
The idea is to revive and intensify agricultural production with emphasis on quality, sustainability, and maximum returns for farmers, particularly local women, who are the mainstay of vegetable production in the Gambia.
Government pays a lot of emphasis to ensuring that we also return on investment to communities. We know that this land that has been given to Minister of Agriculture for the sole purpose of training farmers so that they can improve their productivity. Agriculture did not only stop at ensuring that we train the whole of the region in terms of good agricultural practice, but we also that this community of Queenala and other communities that have given the land also benefit.
The center is equipped with the necessary infrastructure to ensure large-scale production using simple, innovative techniques and materials which are locally available. Emphasis is, however, placed on planning, as it is believed to be the main determining factor inhibiting production. This explains the reason why the training lasts the entire production cycle, to ensure that the women are exposed to every detail at the practical level.
We teach them on first the bed dimension and the bed spacing. Like, for example, you can see most of the beds here are 1 by 10 meters. And we also help them in plant spacing. If you go around the garden, you will see the spacing of the plants, because this will help the plants to give you better yield. And also we help them also to teach them about compost making, because we believe that organic production is more healthy and is, in fact, is more cost effective. And also we help them on mulching, because we always feel that agriculture, water is a limiting factor. But if you mulch your crops, this will also help to reduce the amount of water that the plant is going to need.
This is very, very effective, and it lasts longer than chemical fertilizer. Okay. Because chemical fertilizer, when you apply it after harvesting, you need to look for another one again. Okay. But this can serve you for 2 or 3 seasons. Local materials that are sustainable, and also to do away with chemical fertilizer. Okay. Because chemical fertilizer, they have an element of chemical in them. Okay. So any time you consume them, know that you are consuming chemicals.
The demand for vegetables is high in the Gambia, this according to officials. Therefore, the challenge for the Ministry of Agriculture is to harness the potentials that exist in the agricultural sector to meet this demand by improving the marketing of the produce. The Ministry of Agriculture is planning to construct 100 kilometers of road under its Access to Markets initiative to help local farmers in the West Coast region sell their produce. This is just one of the long-term strategies Ismaila Sanyang believes will revolutionize vegetable production and marketing. In the short term, the ministry will reach out to local authorities to revive all marketing strategies which are mutually beneficial to all stakeholders.
By using the local administrative structures, I think the issue of access to markets, of ensuring that all this huge vegetable produce or this food horticultural produce are sold should not be a challenge. It is an issue of organization, and we've commented that those women who are in the coastal areas who want to go into some form of business in the agricultural sector, but they do not have a handshake with those producers in the rural communities. This is what we need to do for now, while we also build on infrastructure.
The concept of mixed farming centers is gaining ground in the Gambia, as the Ministry of Agriculture recognizes the importance of reaching out to local farmers and passing out the required skills and techniques to effect change. The idea is that agriculture, being a practical field, can best be improved by building the capacity of local farmers and providing the necessary infrastructure to boost production. With this approach, officials are hopeful that they can improve the lives of farmers, thus reducing poverty amongst this very important sector of society. MOMODOU Jallow, GRTS News.
His Excellency Alhaji Mas Aksigai, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Islamic Republic of the Gambia to the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and Permanent Representative to the African Union, has presented his letters of credence to His Excellency Dr. Mulatu Tesomi, President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. A news release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs states that after the formalities, Ambassador Gai and President Tesomi discussed bilateral and multilateral issues that are of interest to the Islamic Republic of the Gambia and the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. During the meeting, the dispatch adds, Ambassador Gai extended special fraternal greetings from His Excellency President Sheikh Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya Ejeje Jame Babili Mansa to His Excellency Dr. Mulatu Tesomi, President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Ambassador Gai, according to the Foreign Ministry news release, also underscored the importance of the excellent ties between the Gambia and Ethiopia, and the need for the two countries to safeguard African peace and solidarity, including spearheading efforts against the challenges posed by climate change. President Tesomi, for his part, the release states, emphasized that the Gambia and Ethiopia have a special relationship that has to be nurtured by implementing the various agreements the two countries have signed. President Mulatu Tesomi pledged Ethiopia's support to the Gambia, adding Ethiopia is a second home to the brotherly people of the Gambia. The dispatch ends. Human rights experts and advocates from across the African continent have concluded the 58th ordinary session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, calling for an end to armed conflict and the rising phenomenon of terrorism. The details by Babakar Senghor will come later in the news. The Network Against Gender-Based Violence and Action Aid International, the Gambia, have jointly staged a 4-day training targeting multi-sectoral stakeholders. NJIE reports the focus of the program is participatory monitoring and evaluation.
The 4-day training on participatory monitoring and evaluation approaches is one of the programs that the Network Against Gender-Based Violence is advocating for the abandonment of FGMC in the Gambia. The network, together with Action Aid International, the Gambia, gathered participants from different organizations to develop their capacities in a bid to strengthen their capabilities to effectively address issues affecting the sexual and reproductive health rights of girls and women, especially on FGMC.
One of the major areas that we are working on is on advocacy, partnership, networking, awareness raising, and capacity building, among others. And during these past 6 years, as Network is almost 6 years old now, it's a very young organization, but a very strong organization for that matter because of its membership.
Participatory monitoring and evaluation approaches, they remarked, is a vital process through which stakeholders at different levels engage in evaluating a particular project. This, they said, promotes accountability and transparency and can further empower beneficiaries to take ownership of this important initiative.
Fortunately, we already have a legal framework in place, but the work is not yet done because we want people to be convinced and sustainably stop the practice of FGMC. In so doing, we have to provide more evidence. We have to give people more education so that they are persuaded enough to permanently stop the practice.
Participants during the next 4 days are expected to gather better knowledge and understanding of participatory monitoring and evaluation approaches in a bid to better address issues of FGMC in the Gambia. NJIE, GRTS.
The Banjul Bicentenary Organizing Committee has received a donation of $100,000 from Gambia Ports Authority and $5,000 from the Gambia Cricket Association. We have details in this report by Khadija Tujalo.
This as the Banjul Bicentenary celebrations continue to inch ever closer. It is no surprise that Gambia Ports Authority is coming forward with financial assistance earmarked for the commemoration of the founding of the city, where it is headquartered and does much of its business.
We are pleased to present a check, a trust bank check worth $100,000 as the authority's modest contribution towards this very auspicious occasion, which is the bicentenary commemoration of the city of Banjul. It is with great pride and a great sense of commitment to the cause of our motherland that we contribute our quota towards this noble initiative.
Although it is not as well endowed with financial resources as Gambia Ports Authority is, Gambia Cricket Association did manage to part with some of its mega resources to help make the anniversary a resounding success.
We're happy you are here. This is an example for others, institutions, entrepreneurs, and private citizens to support this worthy cause.
Members of the Banjul Bicentenary Organizing Committee are appreciative of the interventions.
That the association has donated a check of $5,000, a trust bank check, to the Organizing Committee of the Banjul 200-year celebration as part of our contribution to this great celebration.
Now, today we have witnessed 3 donations. The last one in time is anonymous, so we will not go into that for the camera. But the first and second are of paramount importance. Especially the Gambia Ports Authority. They are an important stakeholder in this matter because the Banjul port is of paramount importance to the Gambia's economy. So they too are important stakeholder, and they know what they are worth, and they have to play a part, and we welcome you and thank you for your good contribution. Concerning those in the cricket association, the cricket, where they say in Latin, mene sana in corpore sano. A healthy mind is to be found in a healthy body. What you have done is also great. We recognize it and we appreciate it, and we pray that we have more inflow of funds so that this bicentenary will be a resounding success.
There is a steady stream of donations, but Mayor Abdoulaye Ba of Banjul wants the flow to continue unhindered, for to him, the Banjul bicentenary celebrations should be supported by all Gambians.
There are others that doesn't want their name to be, announced. The first one come with $50,000. The other one is $14,000. And hopefully that if all put hands on deck, we will achieve what we want to achieve. We are still calling each and every individual, especially the institutions that are working in Banjul. For example, like the civil agencies. Tokomar has come with a donation. And we are expecting Maxline with other agencies.
Banjul plays host to a good number of businesses, some of them making huge profits. It is hoped that they will, in their own ways, help the city celebrate its 200th birthday in grand style. Khadijatu Jallow, GRTS.
We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia after this short break. Don't go away.
Organizing Committee of the International Roots Homecoming Festival, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, the Gambia Tourism Board, the National Center for Arts and Culture, and the Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute brings you the 12th edition of the International Roots Festival from the 6th to the 13th May 2016. On Saturday, official opening ceremony at the Arch 22 starting 3 p.m. and at 8 p.m. on 7th May is the mega musical jamboree at the Independence Stadium, headlined by your favorite Gambian artists. On Monday, 9th May, is the Roots pilgrimage to the villages of Jufure, Albreda, and Kunta Kinte Island. And 10th May is the Futampaf, Rites of Passage at Kanilai. Wednesday, 11th May, is the official gala dinner at Senegambia Beach Hotel starting 9 p.m. This will be headlined by internationally acclaimed kora player, Gambia's very own Sona Jabati. The gala dinner will be preceded on 11th May by a symposium at 11 a.m. at Caraba Beach Hotel. The 12th International Roots Homecoming Festival, celebrating cultural diversity for unity. Sponsored by XXL. For more information, contact 796-2230 or 777770.
Welcome back. In Brussels, NATO and Russian envoys have met for the first time in almost 2 years to discuss several key security issues. High on the agenda were the conflicts in Ukraine and Afghanistan. The NATO-Russia Council was suspended following Moscow's annexation of Crimea in 2014, which affected relations between the two sides. We have more in this DWTV report.
Russian fighter jets flashed past the US warship Donald Cook sailing in the Baltic Sea last week, an irritation to NATO leaders who condemned the flypast as unprofessional and unsafe. Moscow, in turn, hasn't been pleased by recent NATO exercises in Latvia. It worries the alliance aims for a permanent large-scale force stationed in Eastern Europe.
This is Turkish Air Force speaking, Gonga.
But relations have been difficult for many months, made worse in November when NATO member Turkey shot down a Russian fighter jet. That followed the end of high-level defence meetings in 2014 after the Crimea crisis. Those are now resuming.
They realize that this is needed, and to a certain extent it's also an acknowledgement that it was probably a mistake to suspend the NATO-Russia Council and that you need a minimum of communication. Russia will always portray it as a mini-victory, that's quite clear.
The Council itself might try to avoid the awkward topic of winners and losers. Since being set up in 2002, one of its aims has been to build trust between Western nations and Moscow. Despite the misgivings of several Eastern European countries, that gives Russia a unique position.
It was actually a rather significant thing to give to Russia because, you know, there's no other country in the world that has such a privileged position with NATO, that it has its own council, its own separate mechanism and channel with NATO. I think, you know, the establishment of the council at the time was an acknowledgement that Russia will remain an important player in European security and that you need a special way of dealing with it.
But tension between the two sides remains high, primarily because of the continuing conflict in Ukraine. That also highlighted the failures of the Council as a diplomatic tool, with the West eventually forced to impose tough economic sanctions on Moscow.
Security architecture in Europe, Ukraine, the Minsk agreement, you know, all of these things, we don't see eye to eye, and this is why the agenda for the summit, for the NATO-Russia Council, you know, is likely to remain actually rather thin. It's much more a symbolic thing.
And symbolism can be important. The two sides are at odds over many issues, but on the Council at least, some sort of dialogue will now take place.
The frontrunners in the race to contest the U.S. presidential election got another boost to their campaigns. Democrat Hillary Clinton and Republican Donald Trump scored big wins in the New York primaries. In the Republican race, native New Yorker Donald Trump won 60% of the vote, giving him a vital edge over his closest rival Ted Cruz. And the former New York State Senator Hillary Clinton took nearly 58% of the vote, dealing a serious blow to her challenger Bernie Sanders. Let's look at this DWTV report for more on that.
Clinton says she's ready to step up to the next stage for her party.
The race for the Democratic nomination is in the home stretch and victory is in sight.
That's all they want to hear.
Today, you proved once again there's no place like home. You know, in this campaign, we've won in every region of the country. From the north to the south to the east to the west, but this one's personal.
Most could vote, but more than 100,000 Democrats were not on the electoral roll. Authorities have promised an investigation. Others missed out for more mundane reasons.
Tens of thousands of people, as I understand it, have been purged from the voting rolls. It's a little bit crazy that in upstate New York, they opened the polls at 12 noon. What happens to people who get up early in the morning and have to go to work?
The big problem. Republican of the night was Donald Trump.
Thank you, New York. We love New York. We love New York.
This victory will give his campaign an expected, but nonetheless much needed, boost.
We don't have much of a race anymore, based on what I'm seeing on television.
John Kasich isn't racing, he's waiting and hoping for a contested convention.
You know, I think they're going to make a pick my way. That's what I believe. And there's one other thing. You know, I'm the only one here with the positive message, the unifying message. I think the party ought to have a choice when it comes to that.
The spectacle isn't over yet. The next round is in a week.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. President Jammeh Babili Mansa has dilated on the reasons that inform his decision to place high premium on health as he answers questions from children taking part in the maiden edition of the National Children's Day of Broadcasting, NCDB. Agriculture Minister Honorable Ismaila Sanyang has highlighted the strong link between skills acquisition and the development of the Gambia's agricultural sector. The conflicts in Ukraine and Afghanistan topped the agenda during the first meeting between NATO and Russian envoys in 2 years. And prospective U.S. presidential candidates Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have maintained their seemingly unassailable leads, this after winning their respective parties' primaries in New York State. That's all we have for you now. Join us at 10 o'clock again for more news. Until then, I am your presenter, MOMODOU.